Hello and welcome to the holiday edition of Shamrock Foods Kitchen Conversations, where we'll talk to Shamrock partners just like you about how they approach the hospitality business, stay on top of trends, and manage a successful business. I'm your host, Jeff Piven, Business Solutions Consultant with Shamrock Foods, and I'm joined today with a great Shamrock Foods partner, Brad Wise, owner and chef of Trust Restaurant Group in Southern California. Welcome, Brad. Thanks for coming today. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, great to have you here. And for those of you out in TV land, Facebook land, you can comment down below. So if you want to participate, type in a comment or a question down below the feed here, and we'll be sure to address your question. And if I don't get to it, we will definitely get to it later on in the comment section and get back to you if needed. So with that, let's get into today's conversation. So Brad, you're from the East Coast. How did you wind up out in the West Coast?
Well, if you see the storms that are back east right now, you'll see why I left. No, I was in culinary school, and I wanted to come see one of my buddies in San Diego, and then as soon as you get here, it's kind of hard to leave. So that was kind of it was an easy move on my part.
Yeah, I can identify with that. Beautiful weather. I know we have a lot of beautiful weather here in Arizona. So you just went out to see a buddy, and now you have an amazing restaurant group. Tell us about Trust, and tell us where that name came about, because I know there's a cool story there.
Yeah. So I'd worked for another really amazing company here in San Diego. I was there for about 10 years, and then realized, I was at a point in my career, and I was still young for the most part, but I was at a point in my career where I was like, I wanted to kind of push myself and test myself as much as I could. And, and I think that sometimes certain people you only can work for somebody for so long, right? Until things start getting burnt out, or you have there's a ceiling that you hit, to say the least. So I partnered up with a couple people, and then decided to, start this group. The name came from actually just kind of our overall philosophy and approach to the industry. And someone had asked us what was the most important thing, or like, why am I going to give you money to open a place? It's like, why should I choose you? And I was like, well, I'm pretty trustworthy. I'm loyal to a default sometimes. And then that kind of like just stuck, and then we were like, oh, what about Trust? Because we had other couple names, but, all the good names are taken, and then that one just meant something to us. And then we kind of built the foundation on that. That became our story, which was already our story before, but we just weren't 100% sure about it. And, and it now is kind of paid off a little bit.
Well, right. I mean, you started with a basic idea, and now there's trust in everything you do, from people to food to location to energy. I think it's really smart. Richard, how are you? I've got a comment here from Richard. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. And also Jeff from Idaho, thanks for joining us. If you guys have some questions, feel free to chime in. So you started as just one restaurant, and now you've got multiple. Were you just filling a niche, or was there some creative juices there that just drove you to keep trying different ideas? Can you tell us about that a little bit?
I think that a lot of places, right? San Diego has a great everything. There's a good scene of locations where dining or cocktails and traveling. Everything is here, right? You have the ocean, you have the mountains to go snowboarding 3 hours away. There's the desert that's 2 hours away. There's everything is here. So, along our travels, we're like, what else is it missing? Like, there's something missing. And then we realized that, and especially I realized that when I go to other places, right, I was always like other cities in America, or, wherever I was always attracted to one certain style of restaurant. And and then again, I didn't realize that was what I like to do until I started putting a pen to paper, and then business plan came about, and then you start doing your market research to say, okay, this doesn't currently exist where we are, so let's try and fill a void. At that point, and again, I'm quoting writers and things. That have written about us. We kind of revitalized the destination dining in San Diego.
Right.
You have your really busy pockets, in the beach, Little Italy, and then downtown, and there's other little places. But a couple people were like, it's so hard. We were always told, you're never going to make it out in Hillcrest. You're never going to make it here. You're never going to make it here. And I actually got to where I am today by people telling me that I'm not going to make money, right? I still tease my brother-in-law, or excuse me, my stepbrother about, what do you want to be a chef for? You're never going to make money. And then the first time that I hit a certain amount, I texted him a picture and I'm like, hey, thanks for being negative when I was young. Thank you for putting me where I am today. Having that thought process, but they kept telling us we can't do it. We built a small 2,300 square foot restaurant with a decent sized patio. And it became about the guest and not necessarily about, what your interior looks like. We wanted to speak to people through service, food, and genuine hospitality. And, when they came in, we wanted them to see my face and see, the other people there that we've known throughout the industry. And, we like to take care of our own. So it was important for us to do things, the right way, or I shouldn't say the right way, our way, that worked for us.
Well, it seems to be working for a lot of people because your restaurant group has only grown in popularity and such that you are a leader in that restaurant industry there in San Diego, and we're glad you're there. Jeff is asking us, what type of restaurants are Trust? Now, I know you have a few different ones in the portfolio. Can you speak to those for just a sec?
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I think describing a restaurant is arguably for me one of the hardest things to do, just because I am not. Just now, I've opened the last two places that kind of pigeonholed you a little bit. So we always open a restaurant, and people would like, hey, what kind of restaurant is Trust? And I'd be like, contemporary American. They're like, what is that? I'm like, I have no idea. I've just heard someone say it, but so we kind of like specialize in small plates, shareable, but there's no kind of direct cuisine. America is one of the most diverse countries in the world, so you have whatever we feel like doing, we can do. And that so it kind of goes whatever. If we see something cool that we want to create, we do it. We kind of do whatever feels right, and as long as it's thought out, it's well prepared, and we know we can replicate it the same way every single time to make sure it's consistent, is what style of restaurants that we do. But recently I opened an Italian restaurant, which is called Cardellino, and that's an all-day eatery, bakery, breakfast and lunch, and then a full-service Italian place at night. And then we currently have two steakhouses that, again, we are a steakhouse on the classic side of things, but we like to do just the classics, but we just put our twist to them to make it, create the same continuity between all the through the groups, through the restaurants, and again, just make sure we can give the best quality in the product that we have, and obviously service, things like that.
And I see that continuity, and if you all out there are looking at the Facebook pages of the different restaurants that Trust has under its umbrella, you'll see that there is definitely a continuous type of motif or idea, so that when customers decide to choose from any of the brands that Trust operates, that they can trust that they're operated to show the best culinarily and show the best hospitality using the freshest ingredients. Southern California is a great place to access fresh ingredients, especially produce. So you're kind of that's in your wheelhouse there. So a lot of folks out there are just having to change their business. I hate to say pivot because everybody's saying pivot, but my last name is Piven, so I gotta say pivot. you guys have had to make some changes to your business for profitability's
Yep.
sake. You can't just close because the state or government tells us to. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the changes that you've had to take recently?
Yeah. So after the first close down, I mean, this is going to be kind of long-winded, but after the first close down, we decided to, as a group, shut down completely, do our part to keep, so many unknowns. We did our part to kind of stay under the radar a little bit. And obviously, when you close, at that time, 4 locations, and you're worried about, like, okay, scariest thing of any restaurateur is when you open the doors, is people going to come through, right? So you're afraid of shutting down and then open the doors and then people forgetting about you. Why, you don't sleep well in this business as it is, especially just because every day is a coin toss. So when we reopened and kind of, we said to ourselves, what can we do to create a buzz, right? So we took, we did what we called a TRG favorites menu. We took all of the popular dishes from each location and did them out of one, and did it all for one menu. It was a huge success. And then, at that time, in California, they started reopening. After about 6 weeks of that, they started reopening things. And so then we started planning. We didn't want to be the first ones to reopen because there were so many different steps and things that went into to getting there. So there were so many steps to getting there. So we decided, all right, we're going to keep, open 2 of the popular our more acclaimed restaurants, the more popular at the time, and that was Trust and Fort Oak, and then we'll leave the other 2 closed for now to see how it feels out, or how it lays out. Crazy busy, right? And then all through the summer was great. We opened every place, and everything was good. Now this time around is different, right? Yeah. They shut you down. And, I kind of just had, before it even came, we were meeting internally, we kind of had the feeling of, like, this isn't going to be like the last time. We're not going to open for takeout and be crazy busy. Everyone's tired of takeout. People, if they came to my restaurants 4 times, over the past few months, why are they going to all of a sudden order takeout when they just had it dining in and having a good time, right? So we just decided we had a lot of great success with, like, single day events, and be it Thanksgiving, now we're doing, like, Battle of the Burgers from each location. We're doing, my wife's from Santa Maria, California. We're doing a Santa Maria style barbecue. We recently bought a butcher shop, so that place is doing incredibly well. So we're feeding things off of that and keeping it, you do a large package in Thanksgiving. Now at Christmas Eve, we're doing solo prime rib, and we're just giving people bang for their buck. And that seems to be working for us. But the hard part obviously is the holidays, because, people like to go out and dine during the holidays. So it's very common for people to buy takeout, and now there's a lot of competition, meaning, because we were kind of some of the first ones to be doing events like this. People were doing things, but not just of our scale. And when I say our scale, I mean, we did 100 and just under 200 Thanksgiving portions, and it was 300 a piece. So the scale, there was 18 items in this package, so they're of large size, right? We it took the whole company and the whole restaurant, all the restaurants to produce these packages. So now, with doing Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and things like that, and not being able to just dine outside, right? Because San Diego, you would think, you're allowed to dine outside just because the weather's decent. So just trying to be creative with these events and always stay ahead of the curve, and just make sure you keep people interested in guessing, and, and just not do the same repetition over and over and over. I think it's important to just keep things fresh and new. But for the operator side, it's exhausting. We're tired of doing this, but again, everybody's in it like we are. So we're just trying to make the best of it.
I bet. I think that's why we choose this industry, is because we kind of like to fight. We're gluttons for punishment, and that comment, to kind of keep it fresh. That's for everybody out there. Brad's done a great job diversifying his offerings so that it's not the same thing over and over again. And I don't think anybody expected this to last this long. So we're having to get even more creative than we ever thought we were going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So of these changes, there's been numerous, right? What
Yeah.
do you think will last long term? Like if there is a silver lining, what about your process, your offering is going to last long term?
Are you talking like silver lining of the pandemic?
Well, like,
Is that
there's efficiencies, there's certain things, efficiency in your menu and a takeout program. Is any of this going to last long term and maybe be a benefit?
I hope that never played anything in a takeout box again, to be perfectly honest with you. Um, but no, I'm kidding. I think that I don't know about that side of it, just because our restaurants really aren't we're not built around takeout. But I do think, and I'm going to comment on this from like an operational standpoint, I do think that this made us operationally much, much smarter. We you realize that we call it now I call it internally as like top line lazy, right? You always had Fridays and Saturdays. You always knew you were going to be busy to bail you out, but you don't have those big days. So now you have to like realize, like, okay, well, I don't have those big days company wide. I need to do as much as I can to like cut labor, make sure your menu engineering is done the right way, make sure you're priced appropriately. So there's a lot of different things that we had to do, we had to change. And I think that this all made us better operators. I think more importantly myself, but the people around me and my chefs and things of that nature with ordering and just making sure inventories ran tighter and the front of the house, we're not sitting on as many things. Not that we did anyway, but it's just all around a tighter group of us, and then just executional wise, we've gotten a lot sharper in that sense.
Wow, that's cool. And I spend a lot of time coaching around some of those efficiencies. My background is in a lot of big brands, and so for those of us out there in Facebook world, using tools that Shamrock offers like Menu Wizard to cost your menus to make sure that you're staying on top of your margin contributions and food cost percentages is more important than ever at this point. So real quick, let me just say, if you're just joining us, welcome to the broadcast. I'm here with Brad Wise, who is the chef and owner of Trust Restaurant Group in San Diego, California. If you have any questions, as you see down below our feed here, folks are asking questions. I think Jeff found somebody that knows his roommate from across the country. This seems kind of wild. Jordan Coates just chimed in with a question we'll get to in just a moment. If you have a question or comment, please engage with us down there. It'd be great to hear from you. So, Brad, you have a great social media presence. I've been stalking you for the past week. I apologize. But can you tell us how you manage that? I mean, social media to a lot of folks seems like just such a puzzle or a juggernaut. Can you tell us how you manage that and how important it's been to your business?
Yeah, so we do. I do pay a third-party company to run social media and do the marketing, kind of the liaison things of where we're at. But that comes with obviously a price, and there's a certain amount of work that goes into it. We have a photographer on retainer. There's things that you can only capture so much. I'm not a good person on my phone, of the sense of taking pictures and things of that nature. I'm like, my wife gives me a hard time about being a reposter. I'm not I don't create the posts. I just repost everything that everyone tags me in. But it's important, right? I mean, just like anything, it's important to get yourself out there right now.
Sure.
And I looked at it. I don't know if I explained this to you last time, but it seems like with the power of social media, pre-pandemic, if you spent $5 and you would get $10 worth of marketing dollars out of it, or if you spent $5, it got you $10, right? Like that's what it gained. Right now, it's like if you spend $5, you're almost at like $50. So the percentages went up just because people are at home, they don't have things to do, they want to be sharing things, and I think that we noticed that recognize that early on, and we're able to use that to our benefit. And I told my team after we opened the Wise Ox, which is our latest concept, the butcher shop, they realized that if we put all of our minds together, and regardless of how long it takes, like Jordan's comment on here is, what are your thoughts on a holiday cards, like buy $50 gift card and get $10 promo card? Some people before are going to be like, no, that doesn't make any sense because the costs don't make sense. But you do anything you need to do to get by right now is worth doing it. If that's costing you nothing to do, but you're going to gain, obviously more people are going to spend more than $50 at certain locations. It's important to do everything. Anything that one of my team members brings to the table, I don't wipe it off unless it's and it's a large investment, right? So I'm like, hey, if you do the legwork and you put it together and you bring it to the table, we're gonna at least respect you enough to say, hey, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna make this thing work out. So leading on people to do different things and not saying no to anything is worth it. The worst part you can do is sit around during a pandemic and sit on your hands and cry, poor me, and oh my, something's closing or it's not doing that. You just got to try, man. You really do. You really do. It's important to do everything.
Yeah. And you've tried a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You look at
and
all
some of them didn't work.
And it's cool because not everything is going to work. And some of these ideas, it's great that you trust your people to bring to you their talent, their ideas, and you delegate. I see a lot of owners taking all of the weight of the pandemic and what it's done on their shoulders, and it hasn't been good. So for those of you out there, play heads up ball, count on your team, delegate, and like Brad's doing, if he doesn't have talent on social media, he hires somebody that does. I think it's super sharp. So looking at the food, it's amazing, the plate ups and all of that stuff, but you're doing so much to go now. How can you maintain the experience of the dish when you've got to put it in a box? Has there been some adjustments to plate ups? Can you talk to that just a bit and how you can deliver hospitality through to go?
Yeah, I think that just off of my experience with my wife and I buying to-go food, the experience is a lot quicker, right? So, you get to-go food, and let's say you order it from a steakhouse or whatever, you usually get there, you have your martini, you have your wine, whatever you might do. Maybe you don't drink, but you have a little bit of everything, to create that, hour and a half to 2 hour experience, 3 hours sometimes. Right. So, you got to still try and gear your menu to be takeout friendly, and then it's all about packaging, right? You can't think. I could be an ambassador for takeout packaging now because if you'd see the amount of boxes that I get of, hey, the guy's name's Corey. Hey, I need this to be. I need X amount of samples on this, out of a 3-compartment container, and I have, you get 20 of them, right? And then I just have boxes on boxes, just making sure that things travel well, and then when we reopened, the couple of days leading up to it, it was, I'm gonna put this in here, and we would let it sit on a counter for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, check it, 30 minutes, check it, 45 minutes, check it, and then an hour just to see where we need to adjust the sauce, that we need to stabilize it. And obviously my concepts are a little bit more upscale, so a little bit more work goes into them, but I believe that if people are going to still spend the money, we're all about value in this company, and right. People are going to spend the money. We can at least do our due diligence to make sure by the time I get home, it's at least still edible, and if right. There was something that we had to reheat, we needed to make sure I put something in that sauce or that ingredient that would stabilize it. So if you didn't get to it right away and you needed to reheat it, I don't want you eating, a bowl of grease or whatever it may be. So I think it's, important to just do your part to make sure that regardless if you're open or closed, you can still create an experience and they're still happy to do it. On a second part to that, like our New Year's Eve concept is, after I started realizing that things were really fast, right? You order takeout and it's done within 15 minutes, Right. So we created a menu out of the steakhouse that is, we will cook 50% of the meal for you, and then you order your steak, your lobster, and things of that nature, like, classic surf and turf.
Right.
But you get to cook these things at home. We'll give you directions. We'll give you finishing butters. We'll give you things that we do in the restaurant that we would normally do for you that you can do at home. So again, it extends. Now we have champagne for the appetizer, and then or excuse me. Yes, champagne for the appetizer, and then it goes into a red or a white, whatever may be your choice. We just kind of nudge you along to kind of lengthen that experience a little bit, so you can do it at home. You don't have to eat it right away. If you want to pick it up at 3 o'clock and then eat it at 10 o'clock, so be it. It's your choice. But we're going to give you the tools to do it, to kind of create that experience a little bit more. Some people are like, I want to buy it, already done for me because I'm paying for it. And some people don't. A lot of people like to cook and do things at home. I think we've seen that a lot over the pandemic.
Right.
So it's just a matter of allowing them to do so. And again, it's not for everybody, but hopefully we can capture some people from it.
Wow, I think that's so cool. Like doing a course meal with beverage pairings to extend, and you're so right about the to-go, where you normally just get your entree and you eat it and that's it, where you're talking about extending the experience. Yep. It's super thoughtful. So folks out there, give that some thought. That's super cool, man. As our industry has been hit hard this year, so have our workers, if not harder. I know you have a give a meal program to give a meal to restaurant workers. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I thought it was one of the coolest things I've seen in a while.
So at our steakhouse concept, we were creating, pre-pandemic, we were creating a industry night. Our wine director and one of the curators of this program along with us is had worked at a location in Chicago that they did a killer industry night for industry workers. And the Trust Restaurant Group was started on industry nights, meaning that we were a little restaurant. We knew a lot of people, a fair amount of people in the industry, but they didn't know that, that I could cook or we could create service or do anything. So the industry, once Trust started getting its footing, its ground, it became Sunday and Monday nights was like industry nights. Yeah. And it wasn't that we were doing anything. It was the people were going around and talking about, oh, you got to try this new place, trust. So I had actually changed my days off to make sure I was there for industry workers. Again, taking care of your own is important to me. Cool. What better people to, take care of, because they go back to a restaurant. Any given restaurant has, of kind of our caliber, 30 to 50 people, collectively in front and back of the house. And they're meeting guests all the time, and then it's like, hey, I'm here on vacation. What other place you go? And then we got a lot of people coming in like, oh, a so-and-so from this bartender, told us to come here. So that was always like near and dear to us, and we appreciated it. So when we were opening a steakhouse, we're like, how do we do a killer industry night where it's value as a thank you, Right. So that's what I would call people from Shamrock and be like, hey, what can we do to help out to be this way? So fast forward, now we're in a pandemic, we're getting shut down for the third time. So we're like, we need to be able to do something. We can't afford, even though we did donate the first 5,000 to this, it's like we can't afford to feed, these thousands of workers out, but there's a lot of people in this industry that have not been hurt. There's been a lot of people in this country that have not been hurt by this pandemic. Some people have gotten busier, like my wife, her work has gotten busier since this happened. So I know that there's people out there that are, have big hearts and are willing to donate. So we left it up to them. It's like, now you go on our website and it's industry night. If you can help out, you help out. You donate a meal. So you go on Rare Society SD/industry, which is again right on our website. You can buy a meal for another person. It's $35. They get a Caesar salad, Parker House rolls. Last night we did roasted vegetables, just again, simple and hearty. Roasted vegetables, potatoes, smashed potatoes, wood-fired top sirloin, and a butter cake. So, it's you get a lot for these industry people. So then the industry people go on the website and hit redeem, and then they get to put in their name, their restaurant, and then they're allowed to order their steak dinner, and then they come pick it up, socially distanced and all that, of course.
Yep.
But last night we did 200 dinners. Right now we've raised almost 1,200 dinners in just over 12 days. So it's been a tremendous turnout, and it's able to keep, and then a caveat to that is once we kind of launched this thing and I started talking to people, a lot of people were like, oh, hey, I want to come and volunteer, and the whole thing was like, no, I'm able to retain staff this way. I have a large amount of hourly staff still here because they're preparing for these, we did 200 this week. Next week, we're going to be doing 500, even though Tim from Shamrock is going to hate me when I tell him I want to do 500 steaks for next week. So
we'll get started right now.
Yeah. So I hope he's listening. So, and then the turnout has been, again, it's been really positive and been really good. And then the people that came through last night, I mean, everyone's kind of, you're lining up for people that don't have jobs, and it like meant something to us. It was like, a couple of my GMs and director of operations were like, it was tear jerking to see some of these people and just how thankful they were. And it's kind of essentially easy for us to do it just because we want to, but they're getting meals for 2 days now. It's because we're putting so much food in there. So it was a great model for us to kind of sink our teeth into, and then we took it all the way, and and we got a lot of meals that we're going to be able to produce for people.
Well, and it blew up, and it's helping out a lot of folks. It sounds like that's a lot of meals, and for those of us that have a servant's heart, we love nothing more than to help people out, especially when they're having a hard time. Even within our own industry, we look out for our own. So for those of you that missed it, it's Rare Society as well as Fort Oak Restaurant. You can get on there and order these meals. It's so cool too. You can also include a message of encouragement to that person that's going to receive the meal. I think it's one of the coolest things I've seen this year out of all of this stuff, dude. Props for that. It's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And then just finally, my last question to you. We love food at Shamrock. We're all about food. We own a dairy. We do all this stuff that's food centric. Tell us and share with the Facebook audience here in the holiday season, what's going to be on your table in the Wise House next week?
Obviously, family's not coming. My family's from the East Coast, and I think that I have a weird mix for Christmas Eve. But we do Christmas Eve, we do shrimp scampi and barbecue ribs, baby back. And then we'll just do garlic bread. And then dinner, I think, or Christmas dinner, I think that we are doing, I haven't decided yet. We're going to do birria or we're going to do chili verde. I haven't decided.
Wow. All right.
And it's just, I don't ever do Mexican food as a holiday dinner, but just this year, because it's so different, I think that's what I'm leaning towards. I don't, we've been, and we deliver some to our neighbors and stuff like that too. So it goes a long way, but I think that's what I'm doing this year.
Well, birria, slow cooked meats and stuff like that, very comforting. It's definitely the season for, comfort foods and food. At the end of the day, food all makes us feel good. And we love our food here at Shamrock Foods. I want to thank you so much, Brad, for joining us. Thank you for joining Shamrock Foods and Kitchen Conversations. I really appreciate it. Folks out there, thank you for posting your questions. If I didn't get to you, Brad and I are going to get on the comment section and see if we can get back to you if we did not. We hope you enjoyed the show. Keep posting comments if you have more questions, and we'll see you right back here after the holidays for our next kitchen conversation. Happy holidays and Happy New Year from all of us at Shamrock Foods. Take care.
Thank you.